Welcome to today's mobility session. Today we are focused on the shoulders and ankles. Let's start by finding a nice comfortable spot. Lying down on your mat, facing up, and taking some time to be mindful of your surroundings, sensitive to what's going on around you, and taking your attention to your breath. Just noticing the pace of your breath, feeling the sensation of the air slowly coming in and slowly leaving. Doing our best to direct that air deep into the lower abdomen, feeling those lower ribs expand. And as we are focusing on shoulders, let's take a quick scan of the shoulders and mentally relax and let that relaxed headspace start to relax those shoulders. Feeling those pec muscles relax, those lats, those posterior delts, your traps. Letting go of any stressful feelings and mentally go into your happy place. Taking a couple breaths to relax the muscles in around the lower leg and ankles. Feeling those feet and toes get limp. And let's take one more breath here. Long, slow, relaxing breath out. And we'll start with a little work on our left infraspinatus. So the infraspinatus sits on the surface of your shoulder blade. It can be a little sensitive, so ease into it. Look for areas of tension on that shoulder blade, and then finding the right amount of pressure. Settle into a nice relaxed headspace. Sometimes it's helpful to get some movement through the shoulder while we're releasing that tissue to get an active release effect. So taking your shoulder gently through range of motion, maybe some range of motion that you struggle with. The infraspinatus is responsible for some rotation of the shoulder. So doing some internal, external rotation, mimicking some positions maybe you struggle with. And just doing your best to use your breath to relax the target tissue. And take one more breath here. Long, slow, relaxing breath out. And we'll switch sides. Taking our attention on the right infraspinatus, the surface of that right shoulder blade. And let's do some panning through that area, looking for your carrying tension, if we have any knots. And then settling into the right target tissue, the right angle to lean at, and the right amount of pressure that we need for today. That's going to be a little different for everyone. So take your time and settle in. And then think about moving that shoulder through some positions that you might struggle with. Maybe it's overhead. Maybe it's a front rack. So mimicking where you struggle, that'll help us feel out how that infraspinatus restricts that range or enables it. Just listening to your body, finding the right tension that we need for today, mentally staying as relaxed as we can, focusing on that breath every chance we get. Let's take one more long, slow breath in here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll take our attention on the left levator. So the levator basically sits between the shoulder blade and your neck. So back to the left side, sort of overlaps the traps. As the name would indicate, the levator elevates your shoulder blade. So it sits right above it. And if you're not an anatomy person, you're not sure what you're looking for, don't worry about it. Just working on the general area and feeling out how the tissue's responding to that tension, that pressure from the lacrosse ball, and then settling back to your breathing and using your breath to relax that levator. As your lungs let go of air, let that target tissue let go of tension. Mentally staying nice and relaxed. Should be minimal pain. It could be a little uncomfortable, and sometimes we need some discomfort to find that release. So just finding the right amount of tension that feels right for how that target tissue is feeling today. Let's take one more breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath and take our attention to the right levator. So again, we're looking for that area in between your shoulder blade and your neck. And just feeling out position, finding that right amount of tension, that right amount of pressure, and then settling back to your breath. Long, slow, relaxing inhale, directing that air deep. And to stimulate that parasympathetic system, breathing through the nose whenever we can, to help find that nice, calm state, to allow those target tissues to settle down, to allow us for better movement. And then settling back into your breathing, letting your breath guide the release. Just letting go of any excess stress, mentally staying in your happy place. Let's take one more long, slow breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll take our attention to the left serratus. So the serratus anterior sits on the front side, kind of in between your lats and around your ribs. And again, if you're not an anatomy person, just feel it out. Find the general area and then find tissue around the general area that feels restricted. Just search for what feels like it needs attention today. Can be a learning curve here. This is about getting connected to your body and understanding what it needs. Once you've got the right area, the right amount of tension, focus back on your breathing and letting that breath relax that target tissue. And every chance we get, centering yourself back on your breathing, directing that air deep, allowing that air to come slowly in through the nose, slowly out through the nose, and just mentally staying in your happy place, enjoying the moment. Let's take one more breath here. We'll slowly sigh out that breath, and we'll move into the right serratus. So switching sides, and spend a few seconds panning through the area, doing some digging, looking for what needs attention today, and then experimenting a little bit with the angle and the pressure until you've got the right stimulus. Again, we're not necessarily looking for pain. It could be discomfort. Especially if this is new for you, just find a tension that feels right. And let your mind and your breath do the rest. Nice relaxed headspace, nice calming breaths. Trying your best to keep that target tissue synced with your lungs. So as you slowly let go of air, just visualize that tension leaving along for the ride. And just controlling that breath, finding the right pace that allows you to relax. Let's take one more breath here. Long, slow, relaxing breath out. We'll move into the left subscap area. So the subscapularis sits on the anterior side of your scap. So this can be hard to reach, and to actually get there takes quite a bit of pressure. So we're just going to focus on the general area, and we can do this with the lacrosse ball, we can do it with a kettlebell. But if we think of the lateral part of your armpit, that's generally where we're going to access it. So we'll add some pressure. You can use your thumbs. This is really choose your own adventure. And again, we shouldn't be looking for pain. Shouldn't feel any numbness or tingling. Just being aware of that as we ease into that tension and pressure to free up that tissue. And as we go, and you find the tissue starts to settle down, we can gently add a bit more pressure. You can press a little deeper into that target tissue. But again, noting how the body's responding, not seeking a level of pain, seeking a level of relaxing that target tissue. Every chance we get, focusing on that breath. Let's take one more long, slow, relaxing inhale. Let's sigh out that breath and take our attention to the opposite side. So again, we can use that lacrosse ball. We can use a kettlebell handle. We can use your thumb. Just be delicate with how much tension we're applying and pay attention to how the body's responding. And once you've found that right area, that right stimulus, settle back to your breathing. And if you're using your hands, this is a relatively active exercise, but still doing your best to stay mentally relaxed and turning off any muscles we don't need. Try to avoid tension in your face, in your brow, in your lower body. Just mentally staying in your happy place and enjoying the moment. And settle back into your breathing every chance we get. Slowly breathing in through the nose. Slowly exhaling through the nose. And let's take one more long, slow inhale. We'll sigh that out. And we'll move into a left side sleeper stretch. So in a sleeper, you're going to be on your left side. Start by pinning your shoulder back. You're going to extend your left arm out in front of you, doing your best to retract your shoulder blade. And just going to gently press on top of your wrist as though you're helping yourself win an arm wrestle. And we ideally want that whole upper arm flush on the floor. And we don't need a ton of pressure. So just be conscious of how the body's feeling. There should be zero pain. Should feel just a nice, easy stretch deep into the joint. And once we're there, allow your breath to help you settle down. Slow everything down and relax. In a few seconds, we'll gently get active here. As we get active, you're going to gently press up into your hand and resist the stretch And let's go ahead. Starting nice and easy, pressing into your opposite hand, slowly ramping up that tension. Let's add some big tension here to finish up. 3, 2, 1, and let's reverse that. Gently forcing yourself deeper into that stretch using your left arm, slowly ramping up tension. And let's go with some big tension here to finish up. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out. Let's relax. Fall back into that passive pose. And let yourself settle into whatever stretch feels right. If we're getting deeper into the stretch, it's by relaxing the target tissue, not by forcing it. And settling back into your breathing. Staying nice and calm and slow. Let's take one more long, slow inhale here. Let's sigh out that breath. And we'll take our attention to the opposite side. So, sleeper on the right side. As we settle in, get into a good shoulder position. Trying not to let that shoulder sink forward, keeping it pinned. And just gently pressing down on that wrist, like you're helping yourself win an arm wrestle. So just note that that whole upper arm from your elbow to your shoulder should be flush on the floor. And just add that right amount of tension to give a gentle stretch. And then settle back to your breathing. And as we exhale, thinking about relaxing through that right shoulder. Keeping a nice calm headspace. And let's start to get active here, gently pressing up into your left hand with your right wrist. Slowly ramping up that tension as we go. And let's go with big tension for the last 5. Squeezing with some good force. And let's gently reverse that. Actively pulling your right arm to the floor, wrist towards the floor, using the right arm. Slowly ramping up tension as we go. Big tension here to finish up. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Let's fall back into that passive pose. Mentally turning off any muscle we don't need. Using your breath to keep a nice calm headspace. And just relaxing through your whole body and enjoying that stretch. All right, let's take one more long, slow breath here. Let's sigh out that breath. Let's find ourselves a ledge for that left ankle. So it could be a corner of a wall or a post. And sticking the balls of your feet up against that wall or ledge. And then gently leaning your hips in towards that ledge or wall to stretch out that calf. And we can experiment with the knee angle. The bent knee, we'll take a target on the lower calf in the soleus area. And a straight knee will tend to focus more on the gastroc, the upper calf. So this is, again, choose your own adventure. Look for what needs attention today. And find that right angle, that right amount of stretch. Staying as passive as we can in around the foot and ankle. And we'll gently get active here in a few seconds. And let's go ahead. Starting nice and easy, you're just going to press the balls of your feet into the object or ledge. Slowly ramping up that tension. And let's go with some big tension here to finish up. 3, 2, 1. And let's slowly reverse that. Squeezing through the front part of your shin to actively pull yourself deeper into the stretch. Feeling your hips slowly come closer to the ledge. Let's ramp up that tension to finish up. And big breath out, relax. Falling back into your passive pose. Just relaxing through that foot and ankle. Finding depth by relaxing, not by forcing. Mentally staying in your happy place. Enjoying the moment. Watching your breath. One more breath here. And we'll sigh that out and switch sides. So we'll take the right ankle as our focus now, putting the right balls of your feet up against the wall or ledge. Again, finding the right knee angle based on what needs attention today. If you're a little tighter in that lower calf, adding a bit of bend. Whatever feels like it needs attention. And then gently letting your hips move towards the ledge to increase the amount of stretch until it feels like the right amount for what the body needs today. Staying as passive as we can, watching your breath, relaxing through the foot and ankle, letting that stretch fall wherever it falls. And we'll gently get active here in a few. And let's go ahead. It's nice and easy pressure into the balls of the feet. Slowly ramping up that tension as we go. And let's really squeeze here for the end. 3, 2, 1. And let's gently reverse that. Squeezing through the front part of your shin, the top of your foot, actively pulling yourself deeper into that stretch. Slowly ramping up tension as we go. Big tension here to finish up. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Falling back into that passive pose. Relaxing through that ankle. Watching your breath. Letting that ankle fall into the right amount of stretch. Keeping everything as passive as we possibly can. Let's take one more long, slow, relaxing breath here. Let's sigh out that breath. Now we'll move into some left ankle circles. So there's a few ways to do this. We can do this standing or sitting. We find one of the best ways is just lying flat on your back, holding your shin with your hands. But the idea is we're going to move that ankle in a nice easy circle, forcing it into the end range in every position, and just gradually ramping up tension as we go. So as we hit the second half of this minute, let's start to add a bit more force. Shouldn't be any pain, but we want to feel that target tissue work for every corner. Generally, the harder we work here, the more result we get. As we work our way through these last 10 seconds, let's really add some tension. Give a second push to really carve out that end range. And let's shift sides. So grabbing a hold of that right shin, gently locking it into place, and taking that right ankle through its new range. Just gradually ramping up, trying to find a little bit deeper range every rep of that circle at every corner. So full dorsiflexion, full plantar flexion, making those target tissues work. And again, every rep, seeing if we can carve out a little bit deeper range. And last 15 seconds here. Let's really work for these last couple circles. Really squeezing out into those corners. Let's finish up this last rep. And that is a wrap for today. Thanks so much for coming out, guys. Hope those shoulders are feeling nice. Hope those ankles are feeling nice. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next time.